Hi, I'm Creative Katie Karen Burchill. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to reveal my secret to making easy custom journal covers for composition books. In today's video, I'm going to turn these inexpensive, ordinary composition books like these into designer journals that anyone on your gift giving list would love to receive. FYI, these custom covered journals also make great craft fair makes. So before we get to creating the covers, I want to talk a little bit about selecting a composition book. I've gotten these from Dollar Tree, Dollarama, and Walmart, but they're not all created equal. You'll see, open them up. Some of them have writing on the inside cover. And if you're making this to be a gift or a craft fair make, you're not going to want that. So you're going to have to deal with that in some way, shape, or form. So we have two of them that front and back, they have tables and writing, so we'll have to deal with it. So if you want to simplify matters, the one that I purchased at Walmart and maybe spent, $1 or $2 more, they are empty. There's nothing on the back and front cover, which means I have to do less to turn this into something that I would want to gift to somebody else. When I'm selecting composition books, aside from opening them up and making sure that they don't have the printing inside to simplify matters, I also open it up to the middle and see that it is stitched, not glued. The stitching will make it last longer. It's more sturdy. It holds together more than if they are simply glued into the backing. So that's important. Quality, it's a little better no matter what you're doing with them. But if you're going to take those composition books and turn them into art journals, and I'll link the video where I turn composition books into either my accidental art journal or my playing with prompts one, you'd absolutely want it stitched, because you're going to be removing some pages and gluing things together, and you need it to be that extra amount of sturdiness. So as for materials, what you need are acrylic paints, modeling paste, the usual art journaling mixed media supplies. You don't need anything special for it. You will need some kind of varnish at the end to preserve it, because they will be handled. But you need your composition books, your usual mixed media supplies, and for the composition books, you're going to need full sheet shipping labels. Now these I've sourced 100 labels in the box from Amazon. It's the Amazon brand. I will link that in the description box below. I find that the glue, the adhesive of this, the quality of the paper, it lasts. The paper doesn't pill when you put wet medium on it. And the adhesive of this is superior. I've bought sticker paper from Dollar Tree or Dollarama or more inexpensive stuff, and it has pilled or it doesn't handle the wet media. So, take your chances, give it a try if you want, but know that the Amazon brand ones are what I am recommending. The covers of the composition books, they are shiny, they are slick. And in order to, if I wanted to paint this out, I'd have to gesso it. It may come off. So to avoid that problem and to be able to work flat, I'm going to put these aside for now. And we are going to do most of the work flat on the sticker paper. And when we have most of this done, we are going to apply that to our covers, back and front. And then you don't have to worry about gessoing it. You don't have to go through the work of it. You don't have to go through the mess of it. You can simply glue it on. And if something doesn't work well when you're creating on here, you can just put that in your collage paper tray, use it for different purposes, and redo it. Now, because we want pretty much the same front and back, I recommend working on 2 sheets at the same time, side to side. So I'm just pulling out the 2 sheets, and I am going to basically do the same thing, each the same steps on here. So let's get started in turning this sticker paper into a custom cover. I am going to take this script stamp and apply black acrylic paint with a brayer and then stamp on it. This is just grunging it up. This is the first layer. I love having script or text on a background, just peeking through. Some of this will get hidden by future layers, and some of it is going to come through. Now, once that's dry, I'm going to apply some acrylic paint. And I'm going to use turquoise and a makeup sponge. But here's where I came up with the color scheme. I was cleaning up leftover paint onto a coffee filter and scraping it on. It was burnt sienna and this turquoise. And I loved the grunge of it. And I thought, I'm going to duplicate that. That's going to be the basic color scheme for my journal cover, for this composition book cover. Now remember, we're going to do the same thing on one page or the other, and I'm going to start by applying the turquoise paint. Now the sticker paper is raw. It is smooth, and the paint for the most part goes on fairly smoothly. You could gesso it. I would brayer the gesso on, but I never have. And I don't think I would, because this works so quickly and easily. If it gets too wet, you do want to stop and let it dry in between and add more layers. And that also allows you to build up the colors. And here I'm just adding a little more turquoise, a little more burnt sienna. I'm grunging it up. I don't want any really part of this just to be straight up burnt sienna or straight up turquoise, because I love the color that they make when I overlap them and blend them together. So once you have the initial layer of color, the next layers blend a whole lot easier in there. Now, the reason I'm using all permanent medium is because I plan on varnishing this. It's a cover of a journal and I want it to last. So I'm going to put wet medium at the end. Anything that isn't permanent is going to reactivate, and you're not going to like the effect of that. It's going to smudge. It's going to you're going to lose all the beauty that you put into it. So keep it simple. Use acrylic paint. Now, if you love this color scheme, copy it. If you don't, use 2 colors or 3 colors that you like. There really is no rule. I have several that I want to make for this holiday season, and everyone is going to be a different color scheme. Have fun with it. Explore the possibilities. Now, once that's dry, I want to add more marks on it. And while you could use any stamp or stencil that you have in your stash, you can also use found mark making tools like this cardboard. This is just the inside of the cardboard, and I'm going to use it to make line marks on here. I'm putting the turquoise acrylic paint on it and then just pressing it on and using the cardboard as a stamp. How easy and inexpensive is that? When the cardboard gets too grunged up or too unusable, throw it out, you grab another piece. Because we all have boxes in our house, don't we? Stamping, and then again, I'm going to do the same to the other sheet. So as you can see, I've got turquoise, burnt sienna, and I'm using turquoise and burnt sienna again with the mark making. And then I'm just going to add black and a little bit later some gold for some bling. Now here is another mark making tool that you're going to save out of the recycle bin. It is a lid. Anything that has a lid, round, square, oval, you have it. I just throw in a bin and I use it to make marks on my art journal pages, on my mixed media pages. And that's what you see me doing here. I'm just dipping it in the burnt sienna paint and using the lid, I think this is to hair mousse, to stamp with. This kind of gives a little bit of texture here because it's, you're putting on a significant amount of the paint. So it gives a little bit texture, which just adds to the cover. And again, what I do on the one side, I do on the other side. This is another mark making tool that I sourced inexpensively. It is a rectangle that I cut out from a silicone trivet that I got from the dollar store. So again, no high price stencil stamp, just inexpensive tools. And I'm using those to show you that it can be super easy and inexpensive. And I'm just stamping with gold paint here because I love the bling. And then again on the other side. Now I made a mistake here, so I'm grabbing a baby wipe and I'm wiping it off. And I can do that because everything underneath it is permanent. It's completely dried and it's permanent, and I'm not going to just, disrupt it in any way by erasing what I see as a mistake here. Once that's completely dry, and you're going to want to let this dry. I didn't, and I ran into a little bit of trouble. Lesson learned. I'm rushing to get the video done. Now I can position this. If there's a part at the top or the bottom that I don't like, or part that I do like more, I might position it. Now, the adhesive on these full sheet shipping labels is super strong. So you need to position it carefully, and I'm using the black border at the bottom kind of to line it up. I'm putting back some, and then I'm going to peel back the rest of it. Now you can see how strong that is. There's no way you're going to get that off. So you kind of have to go with what happens. Hope for the best. So once I press that in, I'm going to cut off the excess. Now I use my steel ruler for a straight edge, and here I'm using a box cutter. Now it's ripping a little bit. It's not coming off perfectly cleanly. Now, I don't know whether it's the box cutter and maybe it's dull, or if the sticker paper, I didn't give it enough time to dry. Both of that would have given me the same issue. So make sure you have a sharp blade if you're using a box cutter or X-Acto knife. Use the steel straight edge and make sure that it's dry. But I'm going to give you another alternative that worked sweetly. So that's not quite perfectly aligned, but when we add more stuff on here, it's not going to matter. I'm going to completely mask that. So now that the front's done, I'm going to put the second sheet on the back. And I'm going to do this slightly different. This time, instead of leaving some of the backing on, excuse me, I have a bit of a cold here. I'm going to pull all the backing off and then apply it. So here's a tip. If you're doing this and you're unsure, do the backside first, because if you make a mistake, if there's a learning curve, you're going to learn on the back where it's least visible. And then you just go with it. Even when I had some wrinkles on some of them, when I pressed it down, I was able to get rid of it. Here I'm using a rotary cutter, and OMG, did that ever work so well? I highly recommend using a rotary cutter. Of course, you don't want to use that and then use it on your material. The blade, it will negatively affect the blade, but I have one dedicated simply for my paper crafts. But it works so much better than my box cutter. And these pieces, I'm going to use them as collage pieces on future art journal pages. So I'm not done with the cover. You could be. You could say, I'm done, but I want to add a little bit more to it. So I am just taping off, masking off that the black, and I'm going to put modeling paste on the front. I love the journal covers when they have that texture on them. You grab them and you feel it. It's such a sensory experience, and I love it. So I'm using modeling paste from the Crafter's Workshop. This is white. Now, you can get black modeling paste, and that would have worked well on this. You could use black tie stencil butter, also from the Crafter's Workshop, or gold stencil butter, turquoise stencil butter. Now, the stencil butters that are sold by the Crafter's Workshop, and there'll be a link in the description box below, they are pearlized and they are amazing. So if you don't have them, you may want to get them. But I'm going to show you a way to do it to get a similar effect, because I don't want you to have to go out and buy something specifically for this. But the stencil butters in all their glorious colors would be a great addition, especially if you were doing it, um, for a very special person, or you're making it for craft fair makes. Um, they really will make the project um, bump it up a level. So here I'm putting it in 3 places, and then I'm going to make sure that dries. And it's really key that you clean off the stencil butters or the modeling paste off of your stencil. Now on the back side, I am opting to not use modeling paste. I'm just going to use that same stencil, 3 places again, but I'm putting it just black acrylic paint. I don't need the texture on the back side. It's unimportant to me. Um, so I'm just stenciling that on. And I love the black. So here's the workaround. If you want the modeling paste black, like I do here, put the stencil back on. The modeling paste is now dry, and use black paint and colorize it. I could have colorized this I could have used burnt sienna here or turquoise or whatever. If you take the turquoise or the black and try to mix it with the modeling paste, because the modeling paste is white, you're going to get kind of a pastel-y color. But this way you get straight up, and maybe you need to put 1 or 2 coats of it on there, but it's very easy to replace the stencil. So here I want to frame my cover. I'm just putting black acrylic paint all the way around the edge. That just, frames it, makes it look great. It's part of my finishing process. Now I couldn't get along the binding here, so I'm using my angle brush and shading. And because we covered this with modeling paste and we've done the shading, that little oopsie where I didn't quite line it up on the front, you can't see it anymore. Now we've got this to deal with. And basically what that means is I need to cover it with something. So I'm going to take 2 more sheets of the sticker paper and do the same thing. So this is why I'm saying look for a composition book like the one sold at Walmart that don't have it, because you're saving yourself work. I could have done 2 composition books in the same time, but because I have to cover that up, I need to do that. You could also glue a gel print down on there if you wanted to, but I really like the simplicity and ease of using this, adhesive sticker paper. It really does make this so easy. Now, instead of going the whole length, I thought it'd be nice if on the inside I had kind of a black border. So that's what you see me painting here. I'm just taking my black acrylic paint and painting it on there, and then cutting the sticker paper to size that's going to fit. So if you make a wider border and maybe a smaller one, so your measurements may be different than mine. So I'm using my rotary cutter because that works so well. Peel off the backing, place it, and there we have the border around it. And it really sets it off. But, if you like to go the full size, go for it. Here I'm shading around it. It kind of gets rid of that harsh edge, makes it meld better with the black border. Loving that. So there we have both front and back are done, and cover and back. Got some bling on there. Everything's coming together. We're not quite done yet. It could be done, but I decided that I wanted to do some stamping on there. I wanted to put a sentiment. Now, I could have used my alphabet letter stamps and stamped whatever word I wanted, but I have this one that says, choose joy. It's the perfect size. So I'm putting on black acrylic paint and stamping right on where there's no texture. And I like that so much, I decided I'm going to put it in 3 places. And it just so happened that the way I put the paint and the way I put the modeling paste, there were 3 open spots to do it, on both on the front and the back. So I did that on the back as well. I didn't do it on the inside covers, but you could have, right? There is no right or wrong. What you do is right. And there we have the completed journal cover. I promised you easy. Was I wrong? Now, I said before, I am going to varnish, and this is what I use, Minwax Polycrylic Varnish in Satin. And I gave it 1 coat. I didn't do it at this because then it glares. And you'll see that in the pictures at the end. But I'm going to give that a coat, and that's just going to protect it a little bit more. I hope you give this a try. I hope you find, like I do, that it really does make making designer covers on composition books a breeze. Until next time, go get creative.